Hello everyone, welcome to the Boleyn Lounge, another Tuesday talk show. Thanks all of you for joining me. I'm Jeff, and this is probably likely our last show this side of Christmas, as we're quite busy over Christmas, and then we have a game on the Tuesday evenings where we normally have our show. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you all for supporting me through the year, and bring you season's greetings, wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and hopefully you'll all join us here in the Boleyn Lounge in the new year. Now, unusually, I took my seat early for the Villa game. I usually miss the first couple of minutes of a game regularly, and glad I didn't with the early goal. But I was there in my seat early because the club were paying tribute to Billy Bonds, and I found it quite moving, I have to say. I think it's quite a fitting tribute. And it made me a little bit emotional. And I'd just like to say, pay a tribute to the away fans. I'm not sure I've done that in the last couple of shows, or certainly mentioned it properly. So I thought they've been fantastic over the last couple of games, away at Old Trafford and the Amex, and I think they put our home fans to shame a little bit. I was really disappointed at the Liverpool game, that the home crowd didn't do better, and I think there was definitely more effort at the Villa game, and I'm not sure if it's the acoustics in that stadium or not. But I still feel that we could have done better, and you listen to the noise that the away fans have made and the tributes they've paid to Billy Bonds. So I just want to say hats off to them guys. Anyway, on to the Villa game. I'll give you my brief thoughts, and I'll come to the chat, say good evening to you all, and see what you're saying about the game. But starting with the team selection, I'll be honest with you, I was pretty happy with it. Probably would have started Wilson in the Paqueta role or as a proper number 9. But after the performance of Brighton, I could see why he did it. I wasn't particularly upset. And yeah, I thought we played okay. I thought we played quite well in parts, actually. Ultimately, we faced another defeat, which is it's becoming a problem, these drop points. And we made a fast start. We pressed high up the pitch and forced the error. Fernandes nicked the ball, and it was right in front of us. I think it was a super finish from a tight angle. And well, if it was anyone but West Ham, you'd probably say it was the best start you could have. But we immediately kind of went onto the back foot a little bit, invited them into the game, and inside 10 minutes they got level. This is the other end of the pitch to me, and I haven't had the benefit of seeing replays and highlights, but I thought perhaps we could have done better there and defended that better. Mavropanos' own goal, as I understand it. But we got ourselves back into the game, took up the impetus again, really, in parts of that first half. Got our noses in front. Good goal from Bowen, and held to half time. Going 2-1, pretty happy at that point. Like I say, I feel like we're playing pretty well. But we start the second half really slowly and let Villa bring it to us, and they score inside the first 5 minutes or so. And I felt the substitutions, I'll talk about some of the triple substitution late. I mean, it prompted me leaving when I heard Rodriguez was coming on. I didn't really understand the Kante one, but I thought, okay, giving the young lad some minutes. I could even understand Souček coming on if he'd have brought him on earlier in the game, but at that point, I don't really see. And the removal of the players we were taking out of the game to introduce these, and then Rodriguez got announced, and that was it. I was on my way out the stadium, so I didn't see the last few minutes of the game. But I can't believe we've gone 2-2, and I do think we were creating some opportunities. We were forcing some corners, and the problem with the corners is we don't really carry any threat from them. Mavropanos gets on the end of them, but never hits the target. And the only other threat we've got is Bowen, and he takes half the corners. So there were parts of the game where we were looking to cross the ball. There's no one to cross the ball into the middle. And you just think we really desperately need a striker. And after we brought Wilson on after sort of the hour mark at Brighton, I thought he might do a similar thing against Villa, and I think it might give us a real chance in the game. But he didn't. He waited until we could see the third, and I mean I think it's a great strike from Rodgers, but he's just got too much time and space, and yeah, it's a quality hit. I'm right behind that, and I don't think Areola has much chance. Some might criticise him, but I just think it's a quality strike. And a couple of minutes later, he brings on Wilson, but it's all a little bit too little, too late. A few minutes later, he does that stupid triple substitution, and yeah, that was me. I was on my way out to the station, so overall, I'm disappointed with losing. I felt we played okay in the most part, and this is where I'd like to see what you guys' views are in the chat there, and I'm going to come into your comments now. Please let me know what you think. Do you agree with that, or are you not happy with the way we played? I see Leslie's popped in. I read his comments earlier because he was in very early. I know he's off to work, so he has a couple of questions I'll address quickly. He says, does Nuno have the in-game management and acumen to save us from relegation? Well, I think there's really big question marks over that, isn't there? When we look at how we've given the game away at Bournemouth, we regressed against Man United where maybe we had the momentum. I don't want to say too much about the Brighton game. I actually think we're a little bit unlucky in that one. Liverpool, we just did not turn up. And then yesterday, this is this is sort of similar really to the Bournemouth game where his substitutions and his tactics are just not working. And in fact, they're costing us points in games that we really should be getting something out of. And I went on last week, tried to be really positive last week, and say I was encouraged on one thing or another. And to be honest, like I say, I think we played pretty well against Villa in the main part. So in that respect, it's encouraging. A stat I used quite frequently last week was that we'd lost 1 in 6, and we'd not only have we done that we'd recovered points from losing positions 4 times in 10 games, which actually is quite good. And I still think that is. But here's quite an alarming stat that I realised when I was thinking about it, walking the dog, and I was thinking, fuck me, that's all good, but we've actually lost points in 3 from the last 5 from winning positions, and this is the problem. We've got it's great recovering points from losing positions, so tick in the box from that perspective. But we've got to stop giving up points from winning positions. It's crazy. He's got to change something. He's got to get his substitutions right, and he's got to adjust his tactics to make sure we convert these points instead of keep giving them up. Leslie also goes on to say acceptable sales in January: JWP, Guido, Irvin, Paqueta, Fulkrug, and send Igor back from his loan. So JWP, don't think there'd be too many that would argue if we were to see the back of James Ward-Prowse. I've got nothing against him personally. I've often said I think he's a good, solid pro. I don't think he's likely to be any trouble around the club, causing a problem or anything. but he's not getting any football, and he can go and do a job somewhere for someone. But I don't know if we're going to get any takers. So I got a feeling we might be stuck with him. But if we can offload him, I'm absolutely on board with that. Guido, I'd love to see him gone. I just think we're better off having a Kante or someone else on the bench than Guido. I don't. He offers experience, and that's about it. I don't think he's a dreadful footballer, but I don't think he's suited to the Premier League. And I'd be happy for him to leave the club in January. I don't think it would be a loss. And much the same with JWP. If we can find a home for him, it's not really a loss. He's getting nowhere near the matchday squad with Nuno here. And I don't have a problem with that, by the way. So, yeah, if we can move him on, great. Irvin, I think the best thing for Irvin would be to leave the football club. He's, I've got nothing against him either, to be honest with you. But I don't think he's good enough for our first team. And he's on the verge of the Scotland squad, and he wants to get himself a place in the World Cup. So I think if he can go to a Championship club or a Scottish club, get the game time, work himself into that World Cup squad, I'd say good luck to you. You know, I wish him all the best. And if we can get, I don't know, £4 or £5 million for him, it's not a lot of money, but we signed him for under £2 million. So in an accountancy way, it's good, and it actually gives us funds in the positive column. If we come to Paqueta, I don't know where we're going to find a home for him. Who's going to pay the fee that we're going to be looking for? With his comments the other week about the FA, and he's clearly alluding to the fact he's not particularly happy in England and with the English FA. So, does he want to move to another Premier League club? His comments suggest not. I think I said previously, I don't think there's a queue of clubs in Europe that would be looking to sign him again for the fee that we'd be looking for. And he's on like £150,000 a week. So someone's going to have to find those wages or somewhere near. And there's not that many clubs that can pay that in Europe, apart from the top clubs. And I'm not sure if they're interested in him. And then the rumours that he wants to go to Brazil, but their league's coming to an end, isn't it? So I don't know. And if he apparently Ancelotti doesn't like the Brazil players in Brazil, prefers them to play in Europe. So if he wants to go to the World Cup, surely he's got to keep his career going in Europe somewhere. So he's another one. I just think he'd be hard to shift, and I'm not on board with get Paqueta out the door at all costs. So we need to attract a significant fee to let him go. So I'm not sure that's going to happen. Fulkrug, well, rumours today of he's made agreements with AC Milan and one thing or another. He's another one I don't think we're going to recoup the fee on, but maybe the club might be actually willing to, if we can get a loan. I think it's rumoured to be a loan, and they're going to cover his wages with an option. They're probably not going to take up the option, but then again, he might do really well in Italy, and if he can stay injury free, maybe that would be the best thing for us, to send him on loan there, cover his wages. He does well, and we can attract a decent fee. I don't think we're ever going to get all of our money back, but if we can get sort of most of our money back, get somewhere approaching £20 million if he does really well out there, wouldn't be a bad thing for the football club, I don't think. And I don't think he's offering a lot to our team at the moment. So definitely be on board with that. But of course, all comes down to the recruitment in January. We can't just let all of these players go, even if they're bit part players, without bringing in some reinforcements. So that's crucial. Perhaps not so much in the midfield area because if Kante's going to come in and start getting some minutes, and Potts, Magassa, Fernandez, they look pretty solid midfield. Young lads, I think if the more they play together, the better they're going to get. Um, and let's just say we don't find a home for Paqueta, and we've got Paqueta running, knocking around a little bit. What to do with him, especially if we can sign a striker in January, and then we have Wilson that can perhaps become that impact sub for half hour, 20 minutes, which I think would be a really, really good use of him. And Igor, I was thoroughly unimpressed with Igor when I saw him in the back three. He doesn't look like he offers a lot. But again, I'd be happy to send him back, but we would need to recruit someone in that position in January for sure. And if not, if we can't recruit someone, then I think he's a bit of a hindrance, but I think we have to stick with him because getting injury there, we could really find ourselves in trouble. We really might have to use him. So yeah, in an ideal world, let's get a recruit in there, improve on that area of the pitch, and yeah, then I'd be all for sending him back to Brighton. Leslie obviously says now he's off to work and he's going to watch the show in the morning. So I hope that's answered your questions, Leslie, and thanks for tuning in, popping in the chat, and hopefully we'll catch you in the new year. Words is in, says good evening. Good evening, mate. Thanks for joining us. Togs is in. He says good evening. Hope is all is well with you and with you, Togs. And he's saying hi to Words and Pictures as well. They're saying hi to each other. And a word says, thank you, Jeff, for your kind wishes. May your Christmas be filled with laughter, joy, and happiness. Let's hope so, Words. And to you and all of yours too. Thank you, buddy. Ian's in, says good evening. Good evening to you, Ian. Thanks for joining us. And Colin's in as well, says good evening. Thanks for joining us, Colin. Good evening to you. Tog says the substitutions in the last few games have not made sense. Loppy used to make weird changes too. Yeah, I agree. The substitutions can be a little bit baffling. I mean, he's took Wilson off at Bournemouth when he's on a hat trick, which actually, if he doesn't want him to play 90 minutes, I think is fine. But he absolutely had another 10, 15 minutes in him. He looked disappointed to come off. He must have been hungry to score a hat trick. I mean, could have really been the difference. And then when he took him off, changed the formation the way he did, we took away all of our threat. It's not like we even, he was tiring, we'd change it, but we still carried any threat at all. We didn't. We removed it. We just invited them on and lost a 2-goal lead. It was crazy. And like I say, I think there was a little bit echoes of that against Villa. I mean, he made the substitutions came far too late anyway, but they absolutely made no sense. Now, if he'd have brought Wilson on around the hour mark, I get that. If, like I said earlier, we were winning a few corners, Mavropanos, like I say, gets on the end of them, but never seems to get anything on target. You bring a Wilson on a bit earlier, and you bring a Souček on to say, okay, maybe you can get on the end of something in the box. Well, we know Souček is good at that. He will do things like that. So it would have made sense to do something like that, but to do it at the time he did it, just made no sense at all. And he's got to stop. He's got to shape up there because it's really costing us points. Well, it says, on the TV, while the players were celebrating the second goal, the camera went on to Nuno, and he was waving players into a defensive formation. I couldn't believe it. Okay, and I didn't notice that from in the ground. I was probably too busy celebrating the goal. But it says it all, doesn't it? We don't have a Murillo and a Milenkovic. If we invite teams on, we've proven time and again we're gonna succumb to the pressure. We're not great at defending set pieces. I do think we're better than we were, but still, We look vulnerable. So we should just keep it. If it's working, we're creating chances, scoring a few goals. Don't stop doing it. Just keep doing it. Ian says, I'm getting increasingly worried about Nuno's decision making. It's also very concerning at this stage in the season. We are still losing even when playing reasonably well. Not looking good, is it? No, I kind of echo all of what you've said there. Uh, it is a bit worrying because I feel like actually we are playing better. I think we're actually playing well in places. Uh, and after the Man U Brighton games, which I thought we could have easily got nothing out of, and was really disappointed that we only got 2 points out of. Certainly more unlucky in one than the other. And I'll be honest, I didn't expect to get anything out of the Villa game. Really, I think they're a really good side. I think they've got a really good manager who proved against Arsenal. He went for the game. He went for the throat. He said, I'm going to try and win the game here. He did similar things against us. His changes were really proactive. He was trying to win and influence and change the game. Uh, uh, he get his rewards again. And like I say, I'm not walking out of that stadium absolutely furious that we've lost. I don't think we're especially unlucky, and I think we've played pretty well. It's a bit of a head scratcher, and I think what we did we kind of let them win, and I think that's where it's on Nuno really because that's how he set the team up. He was the one who failed to make the substitutions to make the difference between winning and losing the game because the players they didn't apply themselves badly in the main. Like I say, they performed pretty well in the game, and yet we end up with a loss. And I do think that that's the decisions at Bournemouth, the failure to make decisions and take action against Villa from a winning position. It's not I could sort of understand us losing to Villa, but we were in a position to win that game, and we kind of give it away, and we can't afford that. We've got City next week. I think we're going to get beat comfortably there by 2 or 3 goals to nil. And I hope it's not a complete mauling. But maybe we'll talk about the weekend's game a bit later on. But looking beyond that, we've got Fulham and Brighton. These are like we have to win those games. He has got to change. I'm not even sure he's got to change the team's mentality as such as his own mentality because the team gone out and scored a few goals. Have scored goals. We're conceding goals, but we're inviting teams on us and we're getting broken down and we're taking away that. But we're not even falling in and offering much on the counter. The substitutions, the way he alters the team, he takes away our threat. Don't even have a threat to spring on the counter. So yeah, it's confusing and really frustrating and becoming increasingly expensive as well. Word says, I think the players did okay, even well in patches. Nuno is getting too involved, micromanaging the game, when if the players were left to play, we'd likely win games. Yeah, I think there's something in that, because I agree. I think we played okay in the main, and I agree, we played well at times. I think we're missing a little bit of cutting edge, and that's where Nuno could have changed the game much earlier, because if he brings on Wilson. There are times in that game where we get into crossing positions. It's not the first game either. It's evident against Liverpool. We get into crossing. There's nobody here, and we need a centre forward in there. So he could have changed that in the Villa game and other games much sooner. And like I say, if he's going to introduce Suchek, do it with 20 minutes to go when we'll get maybe get a few free kicks and corners. Maybe can burst into the box, get on the end to something, do what he does well. And we know that defensively, if we're facing corners and free kicks, he can do a job at that end as well. So it's not the worst substitution, um, bringing Soucek on. And you could even call him a game winner at times. But you got to do it at the right time and do it for the right in the right role. And he seems to be failing at that. Brennan says, if we're in the bottom three and points adrift, who would want to come to West Ham? Yeah, it's a real problem, I think, because um, let's just say we're looking at January now. We don't know what players are going to leave. Whoever's going to leave, whoever's going to leave. But we do know where we need to recruit. So we definitely need to recruit in central defence, in my opinion. We definitely need a striker, maybe another attacking player, and I actually think we're kind of okay in midfield. Whether we ship some players out or whether we don't think we're desperate for a midfielder. But let's just say we offload Guido, JWP, Irving, and he wants to bring somebody in that area, or even a Paqueta as well, and he needs to bring somebody in. Okay, then we need to strengthen there. I think we're going to we're skint again, aren't we? Or we are, or we aren't. We can splash some money. The experts say we can splash some money. The board say we can't. We're in dire straits. Maybe he needs to find 30 million for a player. But I think we're probably going to be looking at a couple of loans and then maybe a permanent. So what we're going to do, Charlie Cresswell's been banded around. Let's use him as an example. We're going to go and buy him, 25 million pound. I think it's kind of the price mark for him. So that's probably going to be the permanent signing. So now you're looking at probably bringing a striker on loan and another. Okay, if it's the Traore fella that you can sign for 4 million, maybe he signs a Cresswell, for example, 25 million, Traore for 4 million, and then a loan. And I don't see us doing much more business than that unless it's another loan. And who are we going to get? Ivan Toney's been bandied around. I don't know. I mean, I think he's exactly the sort of striker that can do a job for us. He's the sort of striker that we need. He knows where the goal is. He knows the Premier League. He's a thorough nuisance, uh, and he scores. And if he wants to try and work his way into the England squad for the World Cup, maybe he needs to be playing in England in the Premier League and get in front of Tuchel a little bit. But does he come to us? I mean, if if he's on offer, is Thomas Frank interested in him? Do Spurs want him? I think if they are, he's more likely to go there than come to us. And I don't know, maybe a Man United or someone might be interested in a player like that. I'm sure they've got more pulling power than a relegation threatened West Ham United. So, as much as I'd like a character like Tony, I do think we're going to struggle to attract them. So, maybe we will end up with a Josh Sargent or something that we've been linked with. I mean, personally, I hope not. But yeah, January targets could be a problem. We need to. I'm, I'm sort of going to write off this weekend, and if we get anything out of it, happy days. I'll be over the moon, however we do it. Um, but we've got to start picking up points, starting against Fulham and Brighton. We need 6 points out of that. See where we are in the league then. Maybe we're on a slightly more upward trajectory, and we can convince people that otherwise wouldn't come to come. But if we don't get maximum points out of those games, and God forbid we were to lose one or both of them, uh, we're going to be in real trouble. And who is going to want to come? Last night's game between Iriola and Amorim was a lesson in positivity. All out attack and look for another goal even when the game is tight. Both better off than us with a negative style. Yeah, I mean, I didn't see the game last night, and I wish I had. 4-4, what a result! And I'm sure both managers, in one way or another, are kicking themselves how they didn't win the game. But for the fans, whether you're in the stadium or you're watching it as a spectacle, they're the games you want to see, aren't they? And much like Emery against us and against Arsenal, they're trying to win the game, and we need to start making sure we're trying to win games. Can't protect. We can't. We know we can't defend effectively, certainly for long periods. So trying to hold on to something and protect it is not a particularly good tactic for us. I think we should start pursuing what got us the lead in the first place, and maybe that's the best form of defence. Tog says, I enjoyed the football tactics last night, Ian. Okay, you guys will know what you're talking about. And Ian says, yes, Brendan, my point is, why don't we try a bit of positivity in our decisions and style? We couldn't do any worse. Yeah, I mean, we're leaking goals by trying to defend, so perhaps we should, if we would leak goals by trying to score, at least we'd be attempting to win games. Word says, yes, Ian, I've been hoping someone drops down the table. That seems our best hope to avoid getting relegated. But clubs like Bournemouth are playing some great positive attacking football. Yeah, and I think we've all sort of been hoping on that. We're thinking, our Forest, they're going to go on a poor run. They're in Europe, and they've got Sean Dyche, and they're not going to create many chances. And then they go to Tottenham and win 3-0, and stretch the gap between us. We think of Brentford are going to stumble, and they may still, and so may Forest. But they're picking up points. Leeds have got that incredible support at home, and they look like a team who are getting beat, but are absolutely up for the fight. So it's a bit of a worry because, as I said earlier, I think we're playing okay, and we're either not picking up enough points or losing points, and that's it's not good. If we were playing poorly, we could say only things could get better, but I don't know how much better are we going to play before we start picking up points. We need to sort of grind some out. On a positive note, hopefully Bowen's off his drought. He scored 2 in 2 now. Could have had a second goal, but I believe it's a tie offside. I haven't seen any replays, so I really don't know. Shame really, because it looked like a super finish, but for the offside flag. Words is saying Fulham, Forest, Leeds all scoring and playing well. Only leaves Brentford. Yeah, this is a thing now. Fulham, who we've got coming up. I mean, they were dreadful away from home, but bad luck for us is that they've actually hadn't won an away fixture all season, and now they've won their last 2. So they're actually getting a bit of a bounce. Ian says, yes, we really don't need to be in a position where we're hoping that not only we improve, but other teams suffer dips in form. I think we are already in that position, though, Ian. I think they haven't suffered the dips in form, and they're picking up their points. They're all playing respectively for their teams well, and we're the ones that are playing okay, not out of this world, but playing okay, putting in decent performances. I do think in some respects Nuno has improved us, and I'm not going to row back completely on what I said last week when I said that I was encouraged. There's things that I'm encouraged by, and even in the Villa game, despite the loss, I'm still encouraged by those things. But I'm starting to be worried that we're not converting enough points. Like we lost from a winning position again this week, and yeah, the other teams they're picking up their points, and we need them to start losing. It's not enough for us to just win and draw or go on an unbeaten run of 5 or 6 games if there's not enough wins in there. If they're picking up points, there's already a gap forming. So yeah, we desperately need to have a really good Christmas period, and for one or two of those teams to have a desperately poor Christmas period, and maybe we'll be going into the new year a bit more pleasantly surprised, a little bit more upbeat than we are now. But it's really worrying. And like I say, there's plenty of things I am encouraged about that I think Nuno's improved. I actually think it's him that needs to improve now. I think he has improved some things in the team, and to Debo, we were saying, what a different player is now. Um, Wan-Bissaka seems to have found a little bit run a better form where he was. I think he was really quite stuttering for a little while. Bowen's hopefully starting to find the net again. He seems absolutely obsessed with Paqueta, and Paqueta is infuriating because yeah, I thought he did okay against Brighton playing in that role, and I can understand why Nuno decided to start with that. But he wasn't great against Villa, and what was obviously missing was that central striker, that target, the thing that Wilson would absolutely bring, and he doesn't make the change not only till the 80th odd minute, but he doesn't do it. I mean, we go a goal down. He should be doing that around, let's say, around the hour mark. He could have done it at half time, really. But even if he doesn't want to haul Paqueta off at half time, give it 10, 15 minutes into the second half, I could understand that. But Wilson really needed to come on. And with the pressure that when we had corners that we created, the times that we were looking to cross the ball but had no one to cross it to, if you wanted to introduce Suchek earlier, like I said, I could understand that. But he fails miserably to change the game, and the only way he seems to change it is by removing any threat, not introducing a threat, and giving away games. That's on Nuno for me, and that's where I say we let Villa win. And I'm not really digging out the lads on the pitch over that, saying they just let them win. I, I think it was Nuno in his failure to make changes and adjust in the game that let Villa win. Ian says, I totally agree with you about Emery. He's also very positive. He's constantly animated and pushing his team. That must make a difference to the players' mentality during a game. Yeah, I mean, I was so impressed with him against Arsenal, where he made the proactive changes, and late in the game, uh, instead of saying, "Oh, this is the league leaders, and we're happy to take this point. We'll see the game out," he put it at risk to get the 3 points, and by putting it at risk, he got rewarded with a really late goal against them and picked up the 3 points. And I just think we need to be employing that attitude a little bit more. I don't mind so much. Let's just say we're holding on 2-1. We've failed to score the third goal. We're approaching the last 5 minutes of the game. Say, okay, look, let's try and close this up. Or even 1-1 and we've failed to score the final goal. Like we're getting a point away from home somewhere, perhaps like Manchester United, for example. Okay, but we do it all the time, and we do it. Look how Hurley tried to do that at Bournemouth. Absolutely crazy, and it's costing us points, and that I think Nuno needs to absolutely improve on. And I don't know if he can, because that's his mindset, I think. So is he going to walk with that? I don't think he is, and it's worrying because I think through not being aggressive enough to win games, we really could get relegated. I don't want to be too down. I don't want to be screaming and shouting about it. I don't want to be. I put it jokingly in my thumbnail. Noon in, noon out. Um, I'm not trying to start any kind of bandwagon, but I can sort of see it's not going to be long before that happens, and I think that people, some people, are going to be on that kind of vibe, and sometimes when that happens, it carries a bit of traction. It creates a bit of negativity, and I don't think it's healthy, but he really deserves the criticism he's getting. The flaws that he's showing are really quite evident, and someone needs to change his outlook. He's promoted the under 21s coaching staff, so you know whoever's got his ear, they need to get in and get about him and try him to get a bit more attacking. So, which championship striker would I want? Toha says. I'm not sure. The striker I really like, which I think we have no chance of getting, and that would the team would never let him go. And also, they'd want it's a Paqueta situation. I think for them, if the money comes in, they'd let him go, but they'll want too much money for West Ham to buy him. I quite like Strand Larson. I think he would really do a job for us, but I don't see us getting him. Championship striker, I'm not sure. Um, I'm not even sure who I want to come in. I'd love Tony to come on a 6 month loan. I just don't see it happening. But I think this is the trouble. We've got to try and attract a player like that. But we need someone, I think, who's proven, who knows where the goal is, who's going to score goals at that level. And the risk you take with a championship striker is, can they do it at that level? And much the same if we bring a player in, whether that be a young player or otherwise, who's not played in the Premier League before from overseas. Do they fit that league? And I think we need someone who could do it for us. I think earlier in the summer we were linked with a loan move for Xerxes. I wouldn't be against that, but I don't see him coming to us, and I don't see him leaving Man United now. He seems to be getting a bit more game time. So um, I would have loved Hoyland before that. I mentioned that before. I believe he's doing very well where he's gone. I don't think he was used very well at Manchester United. I know he squandered a few chances when he got them, but I think he's one of those strikers that once he found a run of form, I think he would be. He could have been quite prolific for us. Much like Somerville, actually, on a bit of a tangent. Really disappointed with him in the final third, but I'm beginning to wonder now if it's becoming a bit of a confidence thing for him, and he desperately needs to break that drought. Like Bowen was on a bit of a run of poor form, goal scoring. Got his goal last week. He scored again this week. Conceivably very close to 2 goals this week. So I'd like to think that if Somerville can break his, I know he has scored for us, but break his duck in his latest run of form, maybe that'll do enough to get him a bit more confidence and find his shooting boots and bring a few more assists and goals. Word says you're right. The players aren't excelling, but they're doing enough to win games. Our staying up is on Nuno's choices. Can he change? I'm not sure. Yeah, look, I kind of echo that completely. I'm concerned. I'm beginning to think that No, I'm not beginning to think. I absolutely think that Nuno's costing us points, and it's not necessarily through his team selection or the way we start games. It's the way he fails to manage within games and make the right changes at the right time in those games. And I really do think that's on him, and he's falling way short at the moment. And if it doesn't change, and it keeps costing us points, we will get relegated. What other outcome is there? Aces has joined us. Good evening, Aces. He says City's going to be a bloodbath on Saturday afternoon. Yeah, I kind of fear that. I said earlier that I think we're going to lose by at least 2 or 3 to nil, and I hope we keep it to 2 or 3, and it doesn't go up 4, 5, and 6, which conceivably it could. And here's the thing: goal difference could end up being so important in this relegation battle, and we're not really in a healthy position there. So we're already looking. We discussed it earlier. We're already looking that we need other teams to drop off, start dropping points. Well, not only do we need them to drop off and drop points, and us to pick them up, we're actually starting. If we sort of take a real hiding at City, we're going to need them to start, not only when they're losing, we're going to need to let them to be losing heavily to try and offset some of the goal difference, because it's going to be worth a point at the end of the season. It could be crucial. Ian's asking, Jeff, what do you know about any more protest? It seems to have all gone quiet. Is it planned pause, or have they unfortunately fizzled out? Do you know? I'm not too sure, Ian. I'm with you. I'm feeling like they fizzled out, but I wonder that with the passing of Billy Bonds, and obviously that was against the Liverpool game he passed that morning. So I don't know if anything was planned. Um, I believe it was black balloons, but there didn't seem very much exposure about it. I kind of seemed to find out more about it after the event, that it was black balloons for the Liverpool game, but because of the passing of Billy, they wanted to release the black balloons on 4 minutes. But whether there was confiscations or stewarding bursting balloons, I didn't see an awful lot of black balloons at Liverpool game, I have to say. Um, I thought there was going to be a red card protest, and that they were going to be handing out red cards prior to the game for Villa, but I didn't see any of that, and I can't say I saw any red cards around me at all to be shown on 15 minutes. But again, I wonder if, because of the tributes to Billy Bonds that day, if that was paused intentionally, and if the red cards are going to become a thing against Fulham. And lots of the bigger YouTube channels that seem to have much more contact with the guys at Hammond United haven't had very much to say about protest or promoting what is happening on a match day. And I think they're better placed and better connected than I am to comment on it, Ian. But yeah, it does seem to have fizzled out, but I'm unsure if it's been paused because of recent events. Hopefully that'll become clearer over the next week, because if there's a red card protest against Fulham, I'll join in with it. And if I'm going to be the only one there holding up a red card, it all seems a little bit pointless. So I'll see what I hear about it. Doug says Strand Larson would not want to move from bottom club to third from bottom club, would he? No, probably not, Brendan. Think we missed a chance where Wolves were willing to sell him for whatever they were willing to sell him for. We needed a striker. I personally think he's a pretty good profile. He's a good age. I think he's decent. He scores goals in the Premier League. He's a fucking nuisance on his day. Um, I think we could have done a lot worse than target him. But you're right. He's not going to. I think Wolves will be reluctant to let him go anyway. I know he's not in a rich vein of form, but I think they know how good he is and how good he can be. And I also think they'll be looking to max. If they're going to let him go, it would have to be because they couldn't afford to say no, and we're not going to pay. Couldn't afford to say no money to Wolves for him. And you're quite right. Even if we were prepared to do that, um, he would probably say, "I'll stay where I am and move in the summer, or take up another option elsewhere if he was given one." And Tog says, "Any chance of a cup run?" Well, I said last week I'd love to do a Palace. I bought my tickets for QPR today. My seats taken over by QPR fans that day, so I've got to relocate. So I'll be in the Bobby Moore stand for that game. I'll get the same perspective from the opposite end of the ground, I suppose, but it'll be a few different faces around me than the regular guys that I sit with. So it'll be interesting to meet a few different people and see what their views are. I'd love a cup run. I'd love us to do what Palace did. I'll tell you what, I think I said last week, at 16th, 17th, stay up by the skin of our teeth, win the FA Cup. I'd take that all day long. Absolutely all day long. And of course, it'd be a route into Europe, which would be a bonus for us, although I don't know if it would be a hindrance based on where we're at now. And if we're on the verge of getting relegated this year, perhaps things don't improve vastly over the summer. A European run and a league campaign might be the thing that tips us over the edge next year. So, but with be careful what you wish for and all that. But I couldn't get past winning the FA Cup. How could you say no to that? It'd be fantastic. But we've got to stumble our way past QPR first. So let's get in the hat and then perhaps we speculate how far we can go. Doc says 17th on the cup would do. Yeah, 17th on the cup would. Well, I wouldn't say it'd be a dream. It'd be Premier League survival, but winning the FA Cup would be an absolute dream. And that would be two trophies in 3, 4 years. I guess we'd have to be careful how we got it rammed down our throat from the board, how successful they'd been. Yeah, which I'm sure, which is the way that they would try and present it, which would be a little bit of a joke. But yeah, absolutely, win the FA Cup, yes, please. Sorry, Wes, I'm just trying to scroll down to your comment. He says FA Cup would be fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. And Ian says, I'd imagine any chance of a cup run will be binned off due to our league position, just like most of our other recent managers have. Yeah, that's a worry. But you know what? Um, we need to win games. We need to win football matches right now. Um, and if winning FA Cup games goes hand in hand with winning other games, every time you win a cup game, you're unbeaten or winning streak extends, confidence gets better. You know, the players' tails are up. Perhaps we actually start going at teams because we're winning, and could be a route out. Could be something that fires the starting gun, as it were. Well, the starting gun needs to fire before QPR. Let's get it straight. Starting gun needs to fire against Fulham and Brighton. Desperately need to win those games, but continue the run through winning at home. I mean, you couldn't ask for too much better of a draw, really, could you? QPR at home could have been a lot worse. As long as we don't get Man City or Liverpool away, if we get through, you know, if we get another, I don't even mind if we get an away draw, really, because I don't think we're really that dreadful away. It's just who we get drawn away to. I don't think we want an absolute banana skin, because it's just the sort of game we'll lose. And we don't want to get drawn away to an Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City. Um, but an away fixture against reasonable opposition, I'd take that as a fair draw in the FA Cup and get a couple of rounds behind us, and then who knows? You're only 3 or 4 games away from a cup final, and yeah, we could dream. We'll be here in the new year, bemoaning how that's it for another year, and all we've got left is a relegation battle. Let's hope not. Let's try and keep upbeat about it. Well, guys, as you know, I've made my way down to the bottom of the comments here. I do struggle on these solo shows, and I'm getting a little bit dry. I'm going to have a mouthful of my coke here. Hopefully, Mick will be back in the new year. He's away on holiday at the moment, so he was unable to join us. I will be at the boat sometime over Christmas and New Year, and I don't have great internet there, so I probably won't be able to host a show from there. But once I'm back home, I will come back for the Tuesday night shows. Obviously, we've got a few games on a Tuesday night as well, so I'll be attending those. And I'll briefly talk about the City game, although I've kind of give you my predictions. But I might discuss perhaps what Nuno might do with the team, what I might like to see him do with the team. And if you guys in the chat want to get involved with that, give any score prediction or any team predictions, please do so. If you're watching this back after, thanks for joining us, and please do get involved in the comments. And any comments I get, I will try to reply to. Word says Haaland already plays in cheat mode. He's going to destroy us. Yeah, he absolutely scares the life out of me, and the ammunition that he gets. Mavropanos and Tadibo have been okay. They're playing decent, but they still make errors, and we get away with them sometimes. We get punished at others. Haaland is just going to exploit us. I think he's got too much for us. And of course, we've lost Wan-Bissaka and Juve to the AFCONs now. So we're going to see some changes in the team, that's without a doubt. And I wonder what he's going to do. Is he going to revert back to the back three, which is not really a back three, let's face it. If he does the back three thing, it's going to be a back five. So does he bring Mavropanos, Tadibo and Kilman in as 3 centre-backs, and Ollie Scholes is getting back around the first team, returning to fitness? Is he fit enough to return at left-back? And then that would be an obvious slot-in for Walker-Peters at right-back. I think if he's going to play 5 at the back, be my preferred option than Scholes not being quite ready and having to push one of our centre backs out there, because that means we're probably going to have to see Igor back in the team, or Magassa or Souček introduced as some kind of emergency centre back, and I don't think that's going to be very good outcome against the likes of Man City. So I'll kind of guess that he's going to play a back five, and he'll have Areola in goal, Scholes at left back, back three of Kilman, Tadibo, Mavropanos and Walker-Peters at right back. And then he seems to absolutely adore Paqueta, and I think the midfield three that he'd likely play should be Potts, Magassa and Fernandes. But I think that perhaps Magassa or Potts may have to give way there, and I think it will be either Magassa or Potts alongside Paqueta and Fernandes. I don't see how he can bring Fernandes out of the team. And then I think he might play that narrow Bowen Somerville kind of front two thing that he does. That's an inkling that I think he might do. Personally, I would rather see a back four. I'd slot Scholes in if fit. I'd play with Tadibo, Mavropanos, obviously Areola in goal, and put Walker-Peters at right back. I'd have a midfield three of Potts, Magassa, and Fernandez. Um, for for this one, I might even stick with Paqueta, Somerville, Bowen formation that he's got, simply because of the Christmas games coming up and the fact we're away to City, and I might want to introduce Wilson on the hour mark if we're remotely in the game, um, and give him a half-hour run out. But I'd be doing that with a mind forward to I'd be looking to start him against Fulham, and I definitely want him involved against Brighton. So that would be my thinking on that, and the reason for not starting Wilson. I'd much rather have that central striker, but I would hate for him to play 90 minutes up there or 80 minutes up there and not be available or not as fit for the upcoming fixtures beyond that. So I'd try and save him a little bit. Whatever team he puts out, I still think we're going to lose by a couple of free goals, and like I said, hopefully not more. That's my prediction. Um, Hope it's all not too negative this evening, because I was trying to be a little bit more upbeat last week and see the positives, and I've tried not to be too downbeat or just see only negatives. But I just think we have to acknowledge the negatives, and they're costing us points, and we need to turn it around and change quickly. But I still think there are positives there. We just need we just need points from the positives. Tog says, thanks, Jeff. Great effort. We'll lose to City 1-3 for sure. Okay, Togs, but you give us a goal, so I might even take that, keep the goal difference down by one at least. Ian says, yeah, he couldn't handpick a team better than us to suit his game. He would be all over our weak and nervous defence. Yeah, I think he'll just exploit us. Tog's got a question. He says, Jeff's early season charging up the wing being cut by Somerville being on the wing. Well, actually, I thought before Somerville suffered his injury that Jeff and him actually was having quite a nice little connection down that left-hand side. I think what stunted that relationship and that understanding, if you like, is the fact that he's been starting to play Somerville and Bowen a little bit narrower in that sort of two. He even did it against Villa. He moved Bowen out a bit wider um, as the game went on. I actually thought Bowen carried a little bit more threat in the wider position than he does in that narrow position, especially against Villa, because Wan-Bissaka he was struggling down that side because he was a bit isolated with Bowen inside of him. And I think that stifled Jiff and Somerville's relationship that they were building as well. Not only the injury, but where he's come back, he's sort of played in that front two, more narrow role, not as wide all the time. I think when he plays more as a dedicated wide man in a front three, they connect up much better. I think they can overlap one another. So I think that's what's affected that relationship a little bit. And again, that's a managerial choice that's brought that about. City word says City want the win for the title race, so they'll hit us hard early. I mean, I just I just don't see us getting anything there, and I would love. Well, I won't. I probably won't be here next week, but if I am, I would love to be sitting here going, "Wow, I can't believe." I know I'm talking about getting a point here, let alone three. I can't believe we got anything out of the game. I'll be absolutely over the moon. Like I said, I don't actually care how we do it. Um, I don't care if he puts 9 men along the goal line and we get out of there with a 0-0. I'll fucking take that all day long. But I just don't see anything like that happening. I think we'll be opened up. Doug says Pack will want to flash his knickers against City, whether they are thrilly or soiled remains to be seen. Yeah, he will, but I mean, I don't. I think the move to City is long gone. I don't think that's getting reignited. But I do get your point about Paqueta. I think he does like to show himself in games like that to managers like Pep. So he may well put on a show, but we don't know what show it's going to be. He might do the rolling around, whinging like a baby show, or he might do a "let me show you what a good footballer I am" show. Trouble is for Paqueta, he's so inconsistent. He has been for a long time. Actually, long before the betting thing, I think the betting thing's absolutely affected him, affected his form, affected him mentally. I don't doubt, but we shouldn't be disillusioned to say, "Oh, wasn't he wonderful all that time before?" And the betting scandals absolutely ruined him, and he's struggling to get it back. I think Paqueta's always been a patchy player that plays in patches, and when he's good, he's very good, and when he's not, he actually gets the team in trouble at times. And he's shown it with his rolling around looking for free kicks that aren't free kicks. He's shown it with his poor distribution and decision making at times in the wrong areas. And he's shown it with his petulance where he got sent off against Liverpool. So, as good as he can be, he can he can cost us and cost the team. And I think so, he does at times. And we can't afford that Paqueta with the trouble we're in. We need the good Paqueta that's going to influence and change games. And yeah, we don't see enough of that, and we haven't seen much of it for quite a long time. And Word says, "Good point, Brendan. Pack will turn it on. Yes, and let's hope he does turn it on." Tog says, "Nice observance, Bowen and Cry, Jeff. Okay, well, thanks for that. You may or may not agree with me, but that's just my thoughts on it, and I think that's what's affected that combination, especially down that side. And I do think also it helps Wan-Bissaka when Bowen's out wide. I think it helps Bowen actually as well. Colin's joined us. Good evening, Colin. He says, "Good evening, Jeff. Sorry he's late. It's been busy." And he would play Somerville and Bowen up front as a two. For Nuno, we'll play five at the back for sure and play a 5-3-2. Yeah, that's my thoughts on the team that he'll put out. It's not necessarily what I would do, but I do think it's what Nuno is likely to do. Tox is saying good evening to Colin and Words as well. And Colin's asking, "How's the canal boat going?" It's going really well, thank you. We're really enjoying our time on that. We've literally arrived home about 6 o'clock last night after a long weekend. New mattress has been delivered, so we've got a much comfier bed now. So when we do visit there over Christmas, we should have a good sleep and hopefully a really nice time in the festive period there. And like I say, I'll be back in the new year. Colin said, "Just saying good evening to everyone else." And Ian says, "Good evening to Colin." And I've got myself to the bottom of the comments. I've given you my roundup and my views on Villa and everything we've talked about in between, and finally on the City game. So all I'd like to say is thanks to all of you for joining me, supporting the channel the way you do each week and throughout the year. Merry Christmas to you all once again, and a Happy New Year if I don't see you before then. And come on, you Irons.